little warriors, Anthea here. It's been a while since I've checked in, a couple of days. So this week we're all talking about not taking things personally and how that affects us, and so that's what the lesson this week's going to be about. But today I wanted to talk to you about the memory of stress and how it affects you and how it shows up. So I want to share something that happened for me this week, hey gorgeous man, and how it reminded me of a stressful time from the past. So I was at the playground with Sophie and I was following her around, and I was going through the wooden parts of this park, and we went underneath this section, which clearly is not designed for adults, because I misjudged the height of the wood, and actually I whacked my head so hard on the wood that I almost knocked myself out. So I wouldn't say I was walking forcefully, but I was walking like I was in a bit of an excited mood, so I was just like trying to get into it with Sophie and play with her, and I hit my head really hard, like right here, and I got a massive lump. And I immediately went into shock, and I went into fear, like intense fear around, because we all know about head trauma and brain trauma and internal bleeding and all that kind of stuff. So I went straight into fear and trying to compose myself. And in that moment, I got taken back in time, probably about 3.5 years ago, when I first got diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and I was told I'd have to get an MRI to rule out brain tumours. I went back into that moment and I reacted from that wound, because 3.5 years ago when that happened, I started to think about death, and I started to think about what was going to happen to me when if I died. And I went into that same state. Yeah, and so I had to work, so I had to go to work. So I went and dropped my daughter off. I rested for a little bit, but my head was like, and it still is. I had a massive lump, and I started to get really lightheaded and a little bit dizzy. My vision was okay, and I went and saw my doctor, and he basically said that I had physically squashed my neck into my rib cage, so that because I hit myself so hard, it affected all of my physical body. Yeah, not just, and I had stopped breathing, because I don't breathe deeply enough as it is, but I had stopped breathing, and because I was thinking about fear, I was in this fear state as well, it had made it worse. So, and all I really wanted was I just wanted someone to come and nurture me. And that was my inner child coming through too. It's all I wanted. I just wanted someone to come and take care of me. And I knew that wasn't going to happen. The adult me knew that wasn't going to happen. So I did everything I could to nurture myself, and I still am. So I've been laying low the last couple of days. And once I got adjusted, so I got my neck adjusted as well, and I went and saw my spiritual healer as well. And once I got all of that adjusted, it kind of brought me into a feeling state. And then I started to feel things perhaps that I had suppressed, or perhaps that I had not dealt with from 3.5 years ago. So now I'm like, this knock to the head has really made me, you know how I talk about wounds, how I talk about the many layers of our wounds. This has just taken me back into another layer of my wound from 3.5 years ago that I haven't been there before. Yeah, and that's a pretty fresh experience that I had as well with going to get an MRI to rule out brain tumours. So now I'm in that, but it's teaching me that also brought out some inner child stuff that I needed to address, and it's all linked. Yeah, this hit to the head, the 3.5 years ago, and the little girl in me who wants to be nurtured and probably rescued and taken care of it's all been stirred up in this present moment. And so the reason I'm sharing this story is to show you that regardless of what happens today, no matter how hard you hit your head, no matter how traumatic the experience is in this present moment, there's usually other stuff that will be triggered by it that will show up. And so sometimes when things happen and you're really overwhelmed and it's really intense, it's usually because there's other things showing up as well. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, because this was this hit to the head. It threw me, and physically, and also into that state of fear, and also into, hey Michaela and whoever else is watching, it threw me into the state of fear. It threw me it brought out my inner child, and it made me question my morality. So, I was saying to my friend that it almost felt like a near-death experience, and so it was pretty scary and really, really, really painful as well. So that is what I wanted to talk about. If things happen and you're feeling a lot of different emotions, just know that it's probably there's a lot of things that come up, that show up, that get triggered from the past, that do show up, that need just you to love and nurture yourself and really just listen to yourself. So I hope this has helped. I hope it explains a little bit in greater detail what I mean by the many layers of our wounds. And what I'll just finish on is that, our psyche, our higher self, God, the angels, the universe, whatever you want to call it, will only show us what we can handle in that moment. And obviously for me, I was taken into a deeper layer of my wound to be shown what I need to deal with now to grow and expand and grow up and move on and whatever it is. So go easy on yourself, because when you're in the middle of that, and that's what I noticed, is that we're quick to judge ourselves and we're quick to criticize ourselves. So go easy on yourself, be loving and kind to yourself, and reach out if you need anything. So I will check in with you guys soon. Sending everyone so much love.